All right, so let me do this, break the rule. I had signed out. So let me come back and let's go to Mombasa and join my colleague O'Brien, who is right on standby to give us a feed on what's happening down at the coast. O'Brien, good morning. There we have it. Gentlemen, I'm a bit envious now that you're in Mombasa and you're feeling, yeah, I know. Tell us what's happening in Mombasa, O'Brien. Good morning.
I mean, good morning, Victor Olo. I can tell you, we are living a good life here. It's beautiful. I can see the beach is just next to me here. And the breeze coming from Indian Ocean, it can't get better than this, brother.
I feel you.
I mean, this is work. We got to do it, man. So, I mean, let's get now to the real issues and deep stuff. We've been here since Monday. And what's happening here is the multi-sectoral agency consultative committee. What am I talking about? This is a committee that brings together different players from National Construction Authority, Engineers Board of Kenya, the Board of Registration of Architects and Quantities Affairs, National Police, Disaster Management Authority, you know, different. In 2021, and the mandate of this committee is just to relook at the construction industry in the face of changing dynamics, in the face of collapsing buildings, and of course coming up and proposing solutions. I am now joined by one of the key players in this committee. This is the National Construction Authority, and Engineer Maurice Aketch is the Executive Director at National Construction Authority. He's now joining us so that he can help us connect the dots between NCA and MSAC and what they are doing. And of course, remember, on the 1st of March, and we are talking about less than 2 weeks from now, a major shift is going to take place in the construction industry here in Kenya. It is going to define how we handle construction in this country. We are getting a brand new code, what we are calling the National Building Code. It's coming into effect on the 1st of March 2025. We've been operating with an outdated code, which was which came into force in the 1960s. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And so these are some of the issues that we are going to discuss with the engineer Maurice Aketch. Thank you very much indeed, engineer, for joining us here. I mean, help us understand, how do you connect the National Construction Authority and MSAC, of which you're a key member as NCA?
Thank you, O'Brien Kimani, and good morning, Kenya. I want to appreciate this opportunity for engagement with KBC as part of that multi-sectoral consultative committee, because without this engagement or partnership, maybe the world may not know what we are doing, and it's very important for the world to know. So my name is Engineer Maurice Aketch. I'm the Executive Director, National Construction Authority, whose mandate is to regulate the construction industry in Kenya. And of course, it was established way back in 2011 through an Act of Parliament number 41 of 2011. And of course, from that time, it's been in operation. It's established itself. It's spread across the country in terms of structures. And we are one of the members of the 29 multi-sectoral consultative committee membership, and the role of NCA in MSAC, as we call it, is basically we are the secretary to the multi-sectoral committee, and of course, you know, the chair, substantive chair, is the principal secretary, State Department of Public Works in the Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, and was Honorable Alice Wahome. But our principal secretary is Mr. Joel Arumanyang. And you see from Monday, when it was officially opened by the minister or the cabinet secretary, we've been here. This is our 3rd day. And apart from being the secretary, which provides a very key link, because secretary to any committee is like, call it the coordinating arm. Like look at that committee like a board or a council or anything, where you have the chair, then you have the secretary. Secretary is the one that runs around to effect all the decisions made by the board. Yeah, like for instance, as a CEO, I'm the secretary to the board. Any decisions made by the board, I need to implement. So in terms of implementation, it actually falls on squarely on NCA. So we play a very critical role, and that's why when we are undertaking any joint assignment in terms of enforcement, in terms of inspection, we rely a lot on NCA, even in terms of providing what we call, if there's any issue of non-compliance with that site upon inspection, we'll need to issue a stop order or a suspension order until compliance is achieved. So that stop order will be issued by the secretary to the committee, which is NCA. Of course, as you know, it's done in consultation, so it means everyone will have approved by the decision, so NCA takes action on the decision made by the committee. So we play a very key role as far as MSAC is concerned. So we coordinate, we provide the secretariat, and everything that requires to be done around the committee. We ensure we follow up through all those decisions made and implement them to the end in collaboration with the committee members. Yeah.
World of basketball, you know, we have something that we have somebody that we call the MVP, you know, the most valuable player. And you know, in the context of how you've defined the role of NCA in Northeast building value chain, I mean, you qualify to be the MVP of this industry, and so you bring together all the players from engineers to architects and quantity surveyors and to construction, to contractors. And I know that it's not easy, you know, trying to bring everybody on board and, of course, ensuring that everybody is doing, you know, the right thing. How do you afford to do that?
Well, under the guidance of the committee members, all you need to do is to implement the resolutions or the directives issued in a consultative meeting by the committee. So we would not say that we stand to be at the top. No, we're only playing what we call the directive implementation role after having gone through the meetings, the sessions, the joint inspections and enforcement. So all I need to say here is that without the input of each and every committee member, which is represented in the committee, and of course drawing from their respective mandates, because remember, each committee exists and implements what's within their mandate. For instance, if you talk about National Building Inspectorate, which is actually the alternate chair to the committee, in the absence of the substantive chair, which is the PS, they sit and guide the meetings in terms of the meetings or inspections. And look at the role of other players like the Engineers Board of Kenya. If there's anything to do with engineering, they'll come in and give the input and contribute to that decision. If there's anything about architects or quantity surveyors, the Board of Registration of Architects and Quantity Surveyors will come in. If there's anything about requiring any arrest to be carried out, of course, we have the National Police Service, which is part of the committee. If it's issues to do with disaster management, we have the National Disaster Management Unit. So all of us, using our distinct roles, we play in that committee in a distinctive and collaborative manner so that at least there is no gap. Remember, why this committee is in place and is very effective is because the fact that we are able to work as a team, not in silos. Because previously, before the committee, there was a lot of silo kind of work where a development or a construction would be visited by very many different teams at different times. So you would ask, so at what time would they need to concentrate on what they need to do? So this committee has also brought in some semblance of order, semblance of good structure, and also has brought in what we call, I would quickly call it what do you call it? The harmonization of what happens out there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, question now that is coming into play here is, you know, after 8 years of existence, you cannot continue to be a committee forever. What shape should MSAC take now in the execution of its mandate going forward?
Well, I think that's a good question, because sometimes committees come in different forms. They could be ad hoc, they could be standing committee, They could also be entrenched in some legal or regulatory framework, and all of them exist for a certain purpose. And of course, for a start, you need to have something going. Once you see it's working, you can now form or transform it into something else until it takes shape. For now, I think, and you are aware we are here, our chief guest, or when we're opening this retreat, annual retreat here in Mombasa, was the Cabinet Secretary of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Alice Wahome. And indeed, she indicated that as our chief guest or as a minister in that, where this committee falls under, there will be need to consider what we call some framework of working on it, but that's work in progress. And most importantly, when committee sits like this meeting that is happening here for the 5 days, today being the third day, some of the things they'll discuss are those issues, that how do they ensure that they entrench themselves, or they have a framework that can ensure their sustainability, even in terms of legal structure and all that. So at the end of the 5 days, I don't want to preempt, maybe some of those things they will be telling us is those things, because this is a consultative meeting. It's not a one-man decision. But at the end of the 5 days, we are expecting that they'll be giving some resolutions that will now need to be taken to consideration. If their policy or the border on legal requirements, then they'll be taken to the next level for consideration. I believe that is part of what they'll be discussing. Yeah.
I also wanted to find out, I mean, on the 1st of March, which is not far away from where we are making a major transition. I mean, it's going to be a watershed moment for this nation. We are adopting a new building code from the 1st of March. Help us understand how critical and important is this new document, and how is it going to transform the construction industry in Kenya?
Well, so one of the key instruments or tools for use in the construction industry, basically we talk about standards. And one of the key standards, especially on the building sector, is the building code. So we've had a building code of 1968, which has been in operation for over 50 years. 50 years is quite a long time. So many things that may have changed. And we now have a new sheriff in town, the National Building Code 2024. This is a new document that was published on 1st March 2024 with a provision to have it become effective 1 year later, which means the 1 year was the transition period. So 1 year later falls on 1st of March 2025, in another 2 weeks or so. So there'll be a new standard, a new code that will define how construction standards are done. What is in this Building Code 2024? First things first, the National Building Code 2024 is a prescription of what, how, when, and who can do the work in the building sector, construction industry, but associated sectors. Most importantly, on the overview part of it, it has 321 pages. 321 pages. It has also 25 parts, each part defining a certain key element or a description of what in construction. And then it has 517 paragraphs. A paragraph means, just like in the Constitution, you have articles. But in the code, we have them as paragraphs. So paragraph 1 would be talking about the code may be cited as National Building Code 2024. Paragraph 517 says that this code replaces the 1968 Building Code. That's the first and the last. The rest are in between. Total 517. Of course, it also has tables. Tables are things that also define additional things that are not in the paragraphs. And we also have figures. This, in construction, sometimes you need drawings. Sometimes you need parameters, like the range from this to this. All that is defined. So again, it's important that the new code, the purpose of the code is order and public safety. It's about how safe or how organized the construction industry should be like. And it starts from the time you start design, to the time you get to construction, to the time you get to maintenance, and all that. All this is defined in the code. It also defines issues of structural design, architectural design, specifications, and all that. But the main fundamental difference between the code of 1968 that is being replaced by the code of 2024 is the fact that this code is very flexible in the sense that it defines materials in a way that if you have any innovation that you have to come up with in terms of material space, the code only tells you what that material should meet in terms of specification, but what it must not be made of. So you can make it of anything else as long as it meets the structural safety or the strength or durability or fire resistance. Yeah, so one can be made of glass, can be made of timber, can be made of anything. The old one was very prescriptive. Again, the code also has moved from the new measurements, unit of measurement. Previously, we were using mostly the imperial units, the feet and the yards, the foot and the inches. This one is meters, millimeters, yeah, which is very modern. And of course, that's the global trend. So the new code has got many things, but most importantly, that we must not forget, it has also brought on board what we call resilient structures, designed for resilient structures, which means if you're going to design, you must consider things like earthquakes, things like floods, things like wind speeds, that when they come, the structure will still withstand that particular force. So that assessment has to be done. Geotechnical issues to do with the soil assessment before construction begins, especially for foundations, those have been embedded there. Issues to do with the climate change, issues to do with sustainable design construction, all that is included. So the code is very progressive, is looking at modern and even future considerations. Yeah.
How you're quoting the new building code, I mean, this is going to be the Bible of construction industry. And so how are you going to ensure that the level of knowledge that you have for this document is translated into the minds of consumers?
Very good. Very good. So for the last 1 year since the code was published and approved by the Parliament, both houses, that is the National Assembly and the Senate, we have been on a sensitization, awareness and training drive across the country. And even as we speak now, the training programs are ongoing. And even the opportunity like this one is an opportunity to sensitize our members of the public. But we also have what we call stratified, well-defined structured trainings that's happening across the country, where we are targeting to train, first of all, counties, because counties are going to play a very key role when it talks about implementation and enforcement of the National Building Code 2024. Because even in the old code, they were still the ones in terms of playing a very key role. What is the county expected to do? From 1st March, of course, we expect them to have the new designs, new plans being submitted by the various developers through the professional architects, engineers, should be able to conform to the new code 2024. So that awareness is very important. But most importantly, even the technical teams within the counties also need to know what do I need to look out for when a drawing is submitted. So look, the value chain, the entire value chain players must be sensitized, trained and made aware, including the architects who will be also using the code to prepare the designs, the engineers to prepare the designs, the quantity surveyors to prepare the specifications, and the contractors and the construction workers to now implement the designs using the code. So the code is the integration point of what's going to happen on site. So everyone must know, everyone must be aware, and everyone from 1st of March 2025 now must comply. And that compliance can be made possible 100%, so to speak, if they are made aware. And we are now doing that training.
You've been, the excitement in the industry is that finally this document is also going to bring about, the new trends in construction industry, from sustainable use of our resources to building sustainable and buildings. Briefly comment on that before we go back to Broadcasting House.
Well, what we see with the new code, if fully compliant, or every player embraces and adopts it and is fully compliant, we will see, all call it a regime construction sector of almost zero collapse of buildings. We expect to see that. We expect to see enhanced safety around the construction industry, and we expect to see order, and we also expect to see everyone happy, because there are new things that are being onboarded that's going to help the industry move at very great heights.
Engineer, I mean, it's true, we can't exhaust that conversation here right now in the interest of time, but of course I can, this is going to be an ongoing conversation that we are going to have, so that we ensure that, the public is made aware of the new changes that have been brought about by the new building code, which is coming into force from the 1st of March. And of course, I know you are a good friend of Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, and you work in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, and I know there is going to be that kind of a mutual agreement where KBC becomes the voice of the new building code. Your time is highly appreciated. Asante sana, engineer. Thank you. Well, I mean, that is a conversation that has been taking place here at the ongoing MSAC meeting, which brings together different and various players from different fields in the construction industry. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here from the coastal city of Mombasa. I'm now taking you back to Broadcasting House, where Vivian Degwa is going to take us through the Good Morning Show. Thank you. Back to you, Vivian, in Broadcasting House.
Thank you so very much, O'Brien. That was our reporter, O'Brien, coming to us live from Mombasa. And the conversation that he was having was on the new National Building Code that will be taking effect from the 1st of March. Right now, we take a short break. Don't you go too far. I'll be back with a very interesting conversation. See you in a bit.